Hey everybody, welcome back for my third outing of my vinyl finds. I picked all of these up last Saturday in Lincoln and hit about 4 or 5 different shops, 2 antique malls, and then, 3 record shops. And I picked something at every shop I went to. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So, first one I hit up was the Aardvark Antique Mall. And usually I don't find a whole lot there. Typically, got a lot of great, antiques, but as far as the records go, it's kind of hit or miss. You really have to kind of scrounge around to look and find good deals, but oftentimes, for a lot of dealers, they just, you'll find like Barry Manilow for $10, which is, not a bad deal, but I oftentimes pass on that. But, no, I did come across this one. I don't know if this was there before, but just kind of caught my eye just because of how locally pressed it looked, and it was the first one in this row I looked at. And this is Connie and the Candy Cowboys with a K. Out late on Saturday night. Ooh, I'm partially in the shrink yet, but what really fascinated me though when I was looking at this was that it was produced, or their location was in Marysville, Kansas, which is along the border of Nebraska. Pretty much the first town you visit when you're traveling south of Nebraska. And I actually passed through there on my way to Topeka on my Kansas trip. So as you can tell, this is a local private press, and they actually recorded this in Oklahoma City. There's like this middle-aged man who decided to, kind of gather up these young lads, and including this 13-year-old female vocalist, which is kind of sketchy, but anyways, what can I say about this? There's a couple interesting tracks on here, which I uploaded onto my other channel, Cosmic Minds. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. I uploaded quite a few videos this morning, so if you guys want to check out any of the stuff there I've shown previously, and stuff that I've forgotten to upload in the past as well. Anyways, I put, I think, 2 tracks on here. When My Cup Runneth Over. It's kind of like a folk, kind of a late night folk tune. Seemed a little out of place for the rest of this album. And then Heap of Trouble, which is kind of like a weird novelty track, like spoken word. It kind of has like this kind of ventures thing going on with the backing group. So kind of interesting. And funny enough, I saw someone on Instagram the other night post this. What a coincidence that ever happened. But nothing too great, but for, I think it was like $1 or $2, gave it a shot. So then I later headed on to the first record shop that day, Backtrack, and I think they had this record in there, but I totally forgot they had it. And lately I've been kind of getting my roots back into Hawkwind as far as listening to the early stuff, because I really enjoy the first LP and the live album, Space Ritual. I've just kind of fallen out of them a little bit, and you just kind of have to be in the right mood for some of that, hypnotic, spacey trips. But I was in the mood for this last night, and this is like my second spin of this, In Search of Space by Hawkwind. This is an original US copy. Still have it folded up here. Let's see if we can get a shot of that. And they even have the police at this concert. It's the police. Like right up there. Yeah, kind of a cool gimmicky cover. This is probably the first true Hawkwind album. A lot of people would probably say, but I really dig the hippie vibe on their first album, and this one I think is just right before Lemmy joined. And what can I say? I mean, this came out in 1971, and for its time, I mean, it's quite entrancing. It's pretty enthralling music. You get kind of lost in this album sometimes at some points. Really good, really heavy, pure and simple space rock. Really doesn't get any more diverse than that. So, very nice, clean copy. Paid up a little bit for this, but I haven't really paid up for a whole lot of records in a while, so except for that Rockadrome reissue, but otherwise, it was good. It was a good grab. I was happy to find it there. And then with this next one, I knew the shop had this in, but for some odd reason I passed on it the first time. I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool to see, but I'm glad it sat there for a month, next time I went in there. So I have the debut album by this band, Stray. This is their second album, Suicide. And this is the UK copy. It's almost like a leathery texture. Doesn't feel like leather, but it's kind of like that leathery imprint. Cover's not the best shape, but the record plays, close to near mint. It's on the Transatlantic label. It's some variation of a UK original. And I think the originals in the US came on Mercury, I believe. A totally different cover, but this album's fantastic. I'm really glad I, gave another listen to this band's output, especially in the early years. I've heard their first three are like the quintessential pieces to listen to. And this one features a mellotron, which I really enjoy the accompaniment of the mellotron on this one. Some harpsichord, and they kind of do a little more keyboard-oriented stuff on here. Whereas the first one, of course, it had its softer moments, but both albums are equally really good next to each other, back to back. So, Stray, if you haven't heard them, if you love like kind of progressive hard rock, this is pure and simple, very accessible progressive hard rock to get into. So, very glad to pick that up for a decent price. And then the last find at the place. So I was just kind of scrounging around a little bit because I had some time to spare, and I was looking at these records that were under the shelves, stuff that was kind of less than great condition. And this one happened to be in the way back, and I was kind of surprised to see it back there. When I first looked at the cover, I was like, okay, kind of makes sense it's back there, but I had to figure out, see what the condition was like. And he practically threw this in for free, just based on the condition. And this is One by Bob James. Yeah, I'm going to be showing a few different genres than your typical in these videos. So this is his first album on CTI. I don't recall, did Bob James do any stuff before this? I'm not a Bob James enthusiast, but my friend, my college buddy, is totally probably jealous that I have this, but he's been wanting this a long time, like a really clean copy, and he's more into like instrumental hip hop and jazz fusion of that sort, right up his alley. Right off the bat, I think a lot of people probably say this is their favorite by Bob James. Probably one of the most sampled records for hip hop music out there, with the last track, Nautilus, however you pronounce that. So as you can tell, the cover's got some water damage. But the record, I tested it last night. It does need a nice little clean. I wiped it off, but it does need a nice clean. This thing will probably play like VG Plus. Plays pretty clean, so for practically nothing, I just can't argue with that one. I just couldn't leave behind. And then I headed over to Treasures, Timeless Treasures on O. And usually I'll find some good things there. I found some great 45s the last time I was there. And I just happened to go, I wasn't finding anything up front, so I had to go in the way back, the really, kind of where they throw all the stuff that's, hasn't sold for a while. And I don't know if I passed on this in the past, but really glad I looked this up on my phone, because I found out this is kind of a rare salsa Latin jazz sort of LP. And this is My Ghetto by Kent Gomez and his orchestra. And I think they were based out of like the east coast of the US, like in the Philadelphia area maybe. Spanish Harlem. There we go. So yeah, this is kind of a variation of an early pressing. And I actually enjoyed some of this. I don't know how long it's going to last in the collection, but it's actually in pretty good shape. And the track I recommend is Your Thigh, off of here. I think it's really awesome track. So yeah, not really my cup of tea, but I'm kind of enjoying the expansion of my taste here. So with this record, So yeah, it's kind of salsa based, Latin jazz. I don't know if I can give any other descriptors than that when it comes to this music, but if you guys are familiar with it, it's kind of a rarity, so glad I scooped that up. And then I found this in the other section, so I found a lot of cool, like, new wave, post-punk sort of records, but none of them were, like, super obscure. They're kind of common stuff. But I just happened to check out this compilation I saw there. This is called Troublemakers. This is released by Warner Brothers, and it's a 2 LP set. Wouldn't you know, the birds are back. Hopefully don't last too long, but anyways, features a bunch of artists here. Basically a lot of new wave and post-punk stuff like, list some names here: Sex Pistols, Wire, Marianne Faithfull. I actually enjoyed that one track by her, Broken English. Pearl Harbor and the Explosions. I enjoyed that track of theirs. You Got It, Release It. There's a track by Devo, Modern Lovers, John Cale. So got some pretty cool names on here. So if there's any way to expand my music taste and go kind of in the new wave route, it's probably to pick up on some of these compilations. So I actually really enjoyed this last night when I listened to, I listened to the second half because I listened to the first half a couple days ago. But yeah, I think I got this for like $2 maybe. Pretty clean shape, so kind of a cool compilation. Then I headed over to Lincoln Vintage Vinyl, and I traded some stuff in that I was selling on Instagram that didn't sell. Got some good cash out of it, and he's been getting a lot of stock inside of his store. And he was showing me some of the stuff behind the counter as well, and I had some first dibs at stuff like Velvet Underground and Nico. And I told him I already had a copy, but this one actually looks kind of cleaner than what I got. But I think, I'm pretty fine with my copy. But I was looking at some of the 45s, looking for stuff to trade in. And, practically got this through a trade. So I found this one first in the local section of the 45s. The Boys. They're based out of Lincoln area back in the 70s, the late 70s. It's like a power pop band, and I actually really enjoyed both tracks. I think I've always heard of these guys, but because they were featured, or they had a compilation on the Numero label, and really enjoyed both tracks. You Make Me Shake and We're Too Young. I think We're Too Young was the highlight off here. So yeah, if you guys know your power pop, check out the Boys from Lincoln. I don't really know their backstory or anything like that, but I'm assuming they were a pretty hot band back in the day. Sound like they had a good reputation, so grab that one. And then this is one that I found behind the register that he was still pricing on some items. And I looked at the label and I thought, RCA Victor, the collection. Just kind of looked at the label and I thought, it might be a psych release of some sort. And it kind of is. It's very loosely, sort of light psychedelic track on here. Paper Crown of Gold. It's got this kind of Middle Eastern flavor to it, in a sort of way. Kind of reminiscent of like Grassroots too. And it opens up with this really spacey Farfisa effect that they use. It's really cool. And then Aquarius, the B-side, they do a sort of a psyched up version of that. Not as great, but Paper Crown of Gold, it's kind of a cool track. And then you almost think they're going to do like a drum break in the middle of it, but they don't. It's pretty cool though. It's like some sort of down tempo in the middle of the track, which you don't expect listening to it because it's kind of more upbeat for the most part. And then my last stop was at Lefty's Records. Now, I usually don't stop in there. I stop in there the least. For my taste, I usually don't find a whole lot as far as the site goes. And but I mean, he's got great selection as far as new releases and what people are really into, in the Midwest. But I did pick up on this reissue just to kind of help out and support local business, and picked up Penny Arcade, Not the Freeze. And this was actually marked down compared to prices online. I think I saw this in Omaha a few years ago, marked down for like maybe 15 bucks. Should have never passed on it. This is excellent. I've listened to this years ago, but kind of forgot how it sounded. I remember it was kind of a, an LA sounding sort of record, very West Coast sounding, and it certainly is. But it's produced by Mike Nesmith of the Monkees, and this band recorded in his home studio, and it features the one and only Craig Smith, if you guys know his backstory. One of those acid casualties, and he was working with Chris Ducey, and they released one single on Capitol, and they had this sort of like great songwriting bond going on. It was released by Sundazed. If you guys really enjoy like later Monkees period sort of pop psych mixed with some of that, Mike Nesmith sort of flavor, but it's kind of got that rural sound to it. Very LA inspired, kind of rural psych pop. This is up your alley. This is fantastic. I've always known the track forever, Color Fantasy, because I had it on I had it as a digital download on my phone years ago. So I was really quite familiar with that track. But my other favorites now are Country Girl, which would have been a great single, and Not the Freeze, the title track. So, yeah, if this released back in the day, this would probably be great competition with like bands like Buffalo Springfield come to mind. It's very much in that kind of school of West Coast psych rock. It's got a couple rocking moments, but nothing too like heavy. The one heavy track is on side 2, Love Rain. So it's mono copy. And I think this was like a Black Friday release back in like 2014. So there you have it. Penny Arcade. I'll show the hype sticker here too. Recorded in 1967. So it's an archival release. Fantastic record. I think I've been spinning that one the most since I got this bulk of records since last Saturday. So that about does it. So vinyl finds are done for now. I did order one last night, which I'm really, really stoked about. Got a great deal on a sealed original copy for way below the normal value. And the psychedelic trips shall continue after this one. So that should be my next video. I got my songs already ripped for what I'm going to use now. I just got to shoot it. So hope you guys are doing well. It's a very rainy day here today. Probably not going to be doing very much on my day off, so just figured I'd get caught up with this. So thanks for tuning in again. Hope you guys are enjoying. I'm enjoying the comments as well. And also, another reminder to check out my other YouTube page for any of those private press oddball stuff. So take care. We shall see you soon.